It is impossible to fail if you learn from your mistakes. So don't give up. Hello, everyone. With this thought, let's start our today's class. Yesterday, I started with this new topic, verb. Let's quickly revise what we did yesterday and then we'll move ahead. So verbs are the action words, acting words in a sentence. And in this chapter, we studied two types of verbs, transitive and intransitive verbs. So with this example, I'll explain what are transitive verbs. The policeman arrested the thief. Here verb is arrested. And with that, we have one object. The policeman is subject, arrested is verb, and with that, we have one object, the thief. So this arrested is affecting this object, the thief. The policeman arrested whom? The thief. So this is transitive verb. So if these objects are the answers of the two questions, what or whom, then that verb is known as transitive verb. I'll take one more example. The Arab wounded the soldier. The Arab subject, wounded verb, whom they wounded. Your answer is the soldier. So this is object here of the verb. So this verb is transitive verb. Next, we have intransitive verbs, the verbs which do not carry any object with them. That is intransitive verb. See this sentence here. Silence is golden. No object here. The sentence is complete here. It's giving proper meaning. Sita seems happy. It's complete meaning there. The boy sleeps. No object after the verb sleeps. So these are intransitive verbs. Seems, sleeps, rises, sits. They are intransitive verb because they are not carrying any object. The effect of the verb is not passing over or not transferring over to the sub-object. So this is intransitive. Now next, we studied transitive verb. We have sometimes two objects. You will find two objects in a sentence. They are indirect object and direct object. So indirect object, usually we take persons here. If any person mentioned there, that is indirect. And with that, if we have anything given there, that is direct object. That object which is directly affected by the action, and the other thing, the persons indirectly affected by that. It denotes the person to whom something is given or for whom something is done. So the answer to whom or for whom. So that is indirect object. If name of a thing is given there, that is direct object. Few examples we studied yesterday. He gave me an apple. Apple is an object here, a thing given there. Me, person. So me is indirect object and apple is direct object. Gave what? An apple. So that is direct object. To whom it was given? Me. So me is indirect object. He taught his sons English. Taught what? That is English. So this is direct object. To whom it was taught? His sons. So this is indirect object. I'll take one more example. The teacher told us a story. The teacher told. Told what? So what is the answer of this what here? A story. So this is direct object. And this story was told to whom? That is us. So us is indirect object. Okay. This is a way to identify what is direct object and what is indirect object in a sentence. Now these sentences you can write in this form also. Usually we take indirect object first and direct object comes after that. But we can write these sentences in other way also using direct object first and indirect object later. But there we have to use these prepositions. To, for, these prepositions should be there. He gave an apple to me. So we have written that first sentence in another form. Direct object apple. He gave what? An apple. So apple is direct object. We are writing in first place. After that, we are using preposition to. And then me, that is indirect object. So you can write that sentence this way also, but you have to use preposition here, to and for. He taught English to his son. Same thing, he taught what? English. So that is direct object. To, that is preposition. And to whom? His sons. So that is indirect object. The teacher told a story to us. The teacher told a story. A story is direct object. It is answering what? Preposition to. And to whom it was told? Us. So indirect object we are writing in the last. So both ways we can write, but in this way you have to use preposition. Okay. Now next part. There are some verbs which without any change of form can be transitive or intransitive. That goes according to the meaning of the sentence. He walks his horse every day. So walks, walk, what? His horse. So horse is object here. So this is transitive. After walks, we have an object. So this is transitive. The horse walks. This sentence is getting complete with this verb only. No object after walks. So this is intransitive verb. The horse drew the cart. Drew what? And drew what? Answer is the cart. Cart is object. So drew is transitive verb. Now intransitive. He drew near me. No object here. So this is intransitive. The driver stopped the train. So after stopped, you have this object, the train. So this is transitive. Same sentence, same verb you can use as intransitive also. The train stopped suddenly. So after stopped, we don't have any object here. So this is intransitive verb. Okay. Next part. An intransitive verb may become transitive when combined with the preposition. They laughed. It's complete here. It's giving some meaning. But you can use object here. And if you are using object, you are changing it to transitive, you have to use a preposition. So preposition is at and object is her. So this is transitive noun. They laughed is intransitive. But if we are writing at her with the sentence, then it is transitive. So you can change intransitive to transitive. He looked. Itself, it is giving a proper meaning. And that this much sentence is intransitive. But if you add there into the matter, into preposition, with that, you are using the matter. So this is transitive noun. Okay. Next point. Some intransitive verbs take after them an object. Similar in meaning to the verb. He lived a virtuous life. Lived, verb, life, object, both means the same. So this object, life, is known as cognate object. They fought a brave fight. Fight and fought. Meaning is same. So meaning of object is same as the meaning of the verb. So such objects here, fight, that is known as cognate object. Okay. Now next point here, some transitive verbs can be used intransitively. How? Here we have some examples. He eats bread. So after eats, this verb, you have an object, bread. So this is transitive. But if you write this thing this way, we eat to live. So after eat, we don't have any object given there. So this is intransitive. So here eat has become intransitive. And in the previous sentence, eat was transitive one. The girl broke the glass. So after broke, this verb, you have this object, the glass. So this is transitive. Using same verb, we can make it intransitive. The glass broke. So after broke, after this verb, you don't have any object. So this is intransitive. And this sentence is giving a complete meaning. Okay, that was a quick revision of what we studied yesterday. Now let's start with new topic here. That is verbs of incomplete predication. An intransitive verb which makes complete sense is said to be a verb of complete predication. Birds fly, giving a proper meaning. We don't need any other word to complete the sentence or complete the meaning of the sentence. So in that case, fly is known as verb of complete predication. Lions roar, meaning itself is complete here. We don't need any other word to complete the meaning of the sentence. So here roar is verb of complete predication. Same way here also, the boy laughs. Laughs verb, and this is verb of complete predication. Predicate is getting complete with this word laugh. We don't need any other word to complete that predicate. That's why it is known as verb of complete predication. Snakes hiss, men sleep, the baby weeps. So after verbs, these sentences are not carrying any other thing to complete the meaning. That's why these verbs are known as verb of complete predication. Now, next point. Many intransitive. In brackets written there, and some transitive also. Verbs make no sense as predicates unless they are followed by a noun, adjective, or some part of another verb. Such verbs are called verbs of incomplete predication. In a sentence, verb is there, but that verb wants some other word with that to complete the meaning of the predicate. Those verbs, they are known as verbs of incomplete predication. Okay. The verbs of incomplete predication are to be, seem, become, appear, etc. Now let's see the sentence. The boy seems. Last word is seems, and it is a verb. And this sentence is not giving a proper meaning. So for that thing to complete the meaning of the sentence, we need something there, some other words, we need that. It does not make complete sense. The intransitive verb seems requires some such words as you can use these words here, sad, tired, happy, cheerful to make the sense complete. The sentence, the boy seems tired. The boy is subject and seems tired. This is predicate. Now with this verb seems, if you are using another word like tired, now this sentence is giving complete meaning. That's why seems means verb of incomplete predication. You can write this way also. The boy seems sad, the boy seems happy or cheerful to complete the meaning of the verb. So this is verb of incomplete predication because predicate is not giving a proper meaning. The word or phrase used to complete the sentence is called the complement. So here this word tired, sad, happy, these words we are using with this verb of incomplete predication, that is seems. So tired, sad, happy, cheerful, they are complement. When we are using any word or phrase to complete the meaning of the sentence with the verb, that is known as complement. Understood the difference between verb of incomplete predication and complement. Next one. The complement to intransitive verbs may be in 6 different forms. Let's see what is this. We can use complement in these 6 forms. Now here first sentence, the horse is a useful. After that we need some word there. So we can use a noun there. And now it has become complete sentence. A horse is a useful animal. So sometimes we use noun as a complement there with incomplete predication. My dog has gone. After this verb gone, we are using mad, and mad is adjective. So we use adjective also as complement. Adjective means the quality of the noun. So mad is related with dog. So this is adjective. Third one, the boy continued weeping. Weeping, we are writing here, and weeping is participle. This is known as present participle. ING form is known as present participle. So with this verb continued, we are using weeping as complement. That book is of no use. So here we are using preposition with object, of preposition, no use here as object. So to complete the meaning of the sentence, sometimes we use complement in this form also. Next one. This house is to let. Infinitive. To let is infinitive. To plus verb, another verb, that is infinitive. So let is causative verb. Sixth sentence. The baby has fallen. Fallen verb. After that, we are using asleep. That is adverb. So this is a complement here. So these are the 6 things we can use as complement with verb of incomplete predication. These are nouns, adjectives, participles, prepositions with object, infinitives, and adverbs. Okay. Now, next part. A transitive verb which does not make complete sense by mentioning its object, but requires some complement to be added after the object is called facilitative. So sometimes in transitive with the object, we need some other words there as complement to complete the meaning of the sentence. So that is known as facilitative. See this? The loss filled them. Filled verb, them object here. But it's not giving complete meaning. So here we are adding this complement with grief. So this is facilitative. They set the prisoners. Set as verb, the prisoners object. So this is transitive sentence. But still we need some words to complete the meaning. So complement we are using here free. This is facilitative. In these sentences, the verbal idea is contained in the words filled with grief and set free, as may be seen by writing them. Now, these sentences we can write this way also. The loss grieved them. So with grief, we are writing filled with grief. We are writing this way, grieved. They freed the prisoners. So here grieved has become verb, them object. Freed verb, the prisoners object. So this way also we can write these above sentences. So these were facilitatives. Next one. The complement of a facilitative verb may take the following 6 forms. In this facilitative verb also, we can use these 6 forms as complements: noun, adjectives, participles, prepositions with object, infinitive, adverb. See these sentences? They made Bali. Sentence is incomplete here till Bali. They made Bali what? They made him captain. So we are using a noun here to complete the meaning. The judge set him free. Judge set him what? Free. So we are using an adjective here with the verb set. We found Sita still singing. We are using participle, present participle to complete the meaning of the sentence. We found Sita still singing. Her story filled us. It's incomplete without the words with horror. And with this preposition, with that we are using horror as an object here in this sentence. He liked his enemy to be punished. So this is infinitive, 2 plus verb. We found the baby asleep. Asleep here is adverb. So with these verbs, we are using complements here in the form of noun, adjectives, participle, prepositions with object, infinitive, or adverb. Next one. When the complement comes after an intransitive verb, it is called a subjective complement. In intransitive verb, if we are using complement, that is known as subjective complement because it refers to the subject. And when the complement comes after a transitive verb, it is called objective complement because it refers to an object. Understood? Subjective complement and objective complement. Subjective complement related to intransitive verb. Objective complement related to transitive verbs. Okay, that was your transitive verb and intransitive verb and incomplete predication, complete predication with complements. Now we have 2 exercises here. First one. Say whether the verbs in the following sentences are transitive or intransitive? If the verb is transitive, name the object. Okay, first one. The Arab wounded the French soldier. Here, the Arab subject, wounded verb. And this wounded shows that is the wounded what or whom. So your answer is the French soldier. So the French soldier, this is an object here in this sentence. So this is transitive verb. So right there, transitive verb, and underline that the French soldier, this is an object. I will carry the book. Carry verb. Carry what? So your answer is the book. So this is transitive and object is the book. Time changes all things. Changes verb and changes what? So your answer is all things. So this sentence is transitive. Changes is transitive verb and object is all things. I met a funny little man. Met verb. Met whom? A funny little man. That is an object. So met is transitive verb. The policeman arrested the thief. The policeman subject. Verb is arrested. Whom he arrested? The thief. This is object. So sentence is transitive and object is the thief. The children are dancing. Children subject. Verb are dancing. And it is getting completed here only. Meaning is clear. It's giving proper meaning, but we don't have any object after the verb are dancing. So this is intransitive. The policeman is whistling. Policeman subject is whistling verb. And after this verb, we don't have any object. So this verb is intransitive verb. He rejoices. Rejoices, verb, no object given there. And meaning is complete there. So rejoices is intransitive verb. He killed a snake. Verb is killed. Killed what? A snake. So a snake is object. And this is transitive verb. Killed is transitive verb because it is carrying an object. The soldiers shot the robber. Verb is shot. And shot whom? Your answer is the robber. So shot is transitive verb and the robber is an object here. Okay, I hope you have understood transitive and intransitive. That was an exercise to practice. Next exercise. Point out the direct and indirect objects in each of the following sentences. Okay, direct object, what I said, what I explained, persons, usually we take them as indirect. And if the thing is given there, that is direct, which is directly getting affected by the verb. That is direct object. And indirectly affected by the verb, that is indirect object. Okay, let's see this first one. He gave me a book. Gave what? Starting we studied if the thing is answering what or whom, that is the object, direct object. And if the word is answering to whom or for whom, that is indirect object. Okay, so he gave is verb. Gave what? A book. And it's a name of a thing. So this is direct object. And gave this book to whom? Your answer is me. So me is indirect object. Okay, this is the right way to find out whether the object is direct or indirect. He asked me a question. He asked me what? Your answer is a question. So this is direct object. Asked this question to whom? Me. So me is indirect object. Okay. She told me a secret. Told is a verb. Me is person here. So this is indirect object. A secret. This is direct object. He charged me 5 rupees. Charged verb. Direct object is 5 rupees and me is indirect object. Father promised us a radio set. Promised what? A radio set. So this is direct object. To whom he promised? Us. So this is indirect object. He offered me no advice. Offered me what? No advice. So this is direct object. Me is indirect object. The guide showed us the way. Us, indirect object. The way, direct object. He lent me 10 rupees. Lend me what? 10 rupees. So this is direct object. To whom he lent? Me. So this is indirect object. Sentence 9. The farmer sold me a horse. Sold what? A horse. Direct object. To whom he sold? Me. So this is indirect object. 10th. He refused me the loan of a book. Me is indirect. The loan of a book, that is direct object. He taught me Sanskrit. Me is person, indirect object. Sanskrit, this is direct object. 12th, will you buy me some mangoes? Buy what? That is mangoes. So some mangoes, direct object. And by whom? Mangoes for whom? So this is me. This is indirect object. Can you spare me a few minutes? A few minutes, direct. Me, indirect. 14th, you should buy yourself new shoes. Buy what? New shoes, direct object. For whom? Yourself, indirect object. Will you make me a cup of tea? Me, indirect object. A cup of tea, direct object. Last one. Can you get me a dozen pens? Get me what? A dozen pens. So this is direct objects. And these dozen pens for whom? Me. So this is indirect object. So that was the exercise related to direct and indirect objects. I hope you have understood. So that's all for today. See you tomorrow. Goodbye, all of you.